Okay, so I don't know what tried so hard means for you. I struggle as a one with seeing my vision manifested. Let me ask you a question. Are you carving out a routine every single day for an hour? Because if you think it's hard and it's do half an hour, if you think it's really hard, do an hour. So have you done your 145 DGA? Have you written what you want and don't want? Have you envisioned it? Do you have a vision board? Do you emotionalize it? Do you have a consistent morning and evening routine that allows you to envision and actually take your vision? Do you have the right decision-making skill? Do you have a personal mentor? And are you doing an hour of study every single day? Because the blockage could be that you don't have the skills. Now, if you're saying, Junior, I have all that and I still don't have it, then there could be therapy that needs to happen. Now, I don't know how long you've been in the masterclass, but I'm going to be honest with you that if you're going through the master class one time, it's not going to yield the reward that you want because you could probably learn one or two skills masterfully or some degree of mastery in the 7, 8 months that you're here. But in my experience, the concepts that you're learning here are quite simple, but they require you to rewire the 95% of your brain, which requires time and effort. So you never quite arrive. You are going to have to switch the mindset that this is a lifelong interior work. I am still a work in progress. I still feel like I have just began the journey. I really do. And I think it's because when you develop yourself, you realize as soon as you hit that summit, there's another mountain waiting for you. But that's a divine adventure. So I think that I would get a coach. Do you have a private coach? Because I would start there. Because what you want is make sure that all the skills that you've listed, because it could be that you can't manifest that vision because the skills actually are not there yet. So let's just say your vision is to manifest or to, I don't usually that word manifest, but to embody or to incarnate writing a book. But you don't have a skill of mind management, saying no to your phone, building a routine, being consistent with your study, then it could be the blockage why it's not happening. Because it's not just mindset, it's skill building. We started out with zero. It was just zero. Like we didn't have any money. I had 4 children under 4, and I had 4 children under 4, and most of my children had thrift store clothes. There was no money. Like it's not, but what we had was a growth mindset. And what we had was teaching, growing together. And so that's the hope I want to give you is that if you're growing and developing your skill set, you will find ways to make more money. I think that what you choose to believe will be true. If you think that money is the excuse to have more problems, that will be the case. If money is the excuse to, and I'm not excusing you, I'm just saying that that's what people are saying and not necessarily what you're saying, that your reticular activator is actually going to work for you. So what I would invite you to do is to find a role model of somebody who was broke, lots of them, like lots of them broke at one point and how they actually overcame it. Because there's a podcast, School of Hard Knocks. There's all these great, and they were never available even 5, 10 years ago. Like it's so important that you understand that your mind will find what you look for. That's your reticular activating system. If you have a belief that people can have a beautiful life only because they're affluent, then and if you don't have the money, you're gonna tell yourself, well, I can't have a beautiful life because I'm not affluent. But what you can say is I can choose to have a beautiful life. And by designing the quality of my mind, and then I want to have more resources and doors will open for you. And I think that's a shift of way of thinking. I want to make sure I answer the question. Some of are not affluent of having problems. So do you want to be affluent? Do you want to have more resources? And if so, then make that part of the design. I mean, you put that into your 145 DGA, according to the innate roles as man or woman, who does not according to the innate roles as man or woman without sacrifice or something. There's always sacrifice. That's not here's the thing is that your dream and your vision and what you want will always be on the other side of sacrifice. There will never be a life without sacrifice. It's part of the human experience. So most people who've become affluent, if you study them, it's actually because they have lived a life of sacrifice. It doesn't just happen unless you've been handed like a trust or, money. And I think that as I have come to learn more about wealthy people, I have actually appreciated the level of sacrifice necessary to achieve the level of wealth, freedom, mindset that they've had to earn to achieve what they earned. And I say that to you because I think wealthy people get a bad reputation, but if you study, and the reason why I say this is because I think there are some wealthy people who are maybe not good advertisers and don't live a life of virtue, and they flaunt their wealth in a way that maybe is a disordered. But boy, you enter a world and you start studying people who have true wealth, which is beyond resource, beyond affluence. You realize the virtue, the sacrifice, the integrity, the growth mindset that is required to live a life of excellence to achieve the things that they want to achieve. I mean, that's so important. So what's the hope? I'm going to take them. Follow people who you want to, who have great wealth that you want to achieve to get out of your mindset. Continue to master this class and the things here. We're going to have a wealth arena in a couple of weeks. That's going to be foundational, but you have to build upon it. Remember, even this master class is a whole lot of information. Maybe you don't think it's a whole lot of information. Some women tell me it's a whole lot of information. Remember that it is actually just the beginning. It's foundational work. I'd say that is what you're called to celebrate it. You don't have to make money in order to be fulfilled. Fulfillment comes from being in harmony and aligned with who you are created to be. I think that's a very important thing. Okay, if that means that your contribution is in context of your particular season of your life, and that may not include making money, but it could mean volunteering something. It could mean making sure you're making quality food in your home, that you design that and yes, celebrate it. I think that's what the class is. The last class is that your value is not based on your production. You remember the poisonous pea? Your value never changes. But what you want to do is to align your contribution in harmony with your purpose of that current season. And that's why we dream. Because the dream informs the decision if we stay home or not stay home. Right? For example, the dream of the woman's school was placed in my heart, I believe by God, for me not to keep, but for me to give. I never thought I'd be a working mom. It just was not even in my radar. I did the women's school for free because I believed in it, but I always thought I would do it for free. At one point I started, or I don't know if I actually did. We had a 501c3 and I wanted to do conferences, teach through conferences. There was no online school when I first did this. I remember I was living in this place in Maryland, and I still remember sort of this whole 501c3 model, but that was my contribution in that particular moment. It was in that particular season. But as I expanded my study, I had greater capacity to dream. As I found the right models, I had a greater capacity to dream and said, oh, what about a school for women? And then that led to now building a business, because when women pay, they pay attention. When women don't pay, they squander it. I've seen that happen over and over again. And so then I'm like, what? Me build a business? I had a lot of limiting belief about being a good mom and actually building a business. And it did not help that I had friends who were all stay-at-home moms, not all, most of them were stay-at-home moms, my close circle of friends, and criticized me. And basically, not all of them, some with clear words, some through their actions, that you could never be a good mom and work. So I fought my own limiting belief. So the dream informs the decision. That dream that was placed in my heart, I realized, wow, my contribution in this now season, I was a full-time working woman. I loved it. I just love being a mom. I really do. Just as I love working, and I love being married, and I love eating. No, I love cooking. I do love eating. I don't love exercising. The dream informs the decision, and that you don't have to doubt that you're a stay-at-home mom and you're not going to. No, like, and I talked, I said, we need to rewire this idea that mothers are second-class contributors to society. Mothers is where we develop the next generation. So mothers better be on their A game when they're studying as teachers, as role models, as dreamers, as visionaries, as, I would say, as living a life of excellence and wholeness, because humanity and the next generation hinges on the quality of a mother's life. So that is no small contribution. And I resist this idea of hot mess mama. I really do, because what we ought to be is to live lives of meaning and contribution, where everything about who we are as a woman, biologically mothers or not, should point towards truth, beauty, and goodness. It's the idea of a hot mess mama gives women permission to become a lesser, less excellent version of themselves that is the opposite of truth, beauty, and goodness. I think that it gives women an excuse to not actually live a life of order and discipline. And it is a false advertising of fulfillment. You cannot be fulfilled by succumbing to the lesser version of you. So no, happy moms, dirty kitchen, or dirty, whatever these sticky kitchen means. No, it's coming from a scarcity mentality that you can't have both. Why can't you live a beautiful life, be completely ordered in your home, and be fully present as a mom? Well, the reason why you can't do it, because you think it takes 3 hours to be in the kitchen, or it takes 5 hours to clean the laundry, because you lack the skill set to do laundry in 10 minutes, clean the kitchen in 15 minutes with 8 children. Yes, you can. That's what you can do. And I'm living proof of it. And by the way, that's spotless. And that you can make up 5 meals in an hour. Well, you can't imagine that that's possible because the skill level is not there yet, but you can. So the moms that are saying, well, dirty kitchen, loved kids, why does it have to be either or? Your kids can absolutely feel loved, treasured. And as a matter of fact, your role as a mother is to teach your children their responsibility of order in their own home. It's like God saying, here, Adam and Eve, squander Eden, the Garden of Eden. Of course not. You are to care and till for the soil. You as a mother, your primary responsibility is to nurture a home that inspires life and growth. And that includes order, which, by the way, is a mark of God. So most women are not trained with the right skill set to bring a life of order, and they're suffering for it. But what am I saying to you? Sorry, go back to the question, is that your ability to create that inspiring home that builds your children's mindset and makes them, contributors of truth, beauty, and goodness in society is a massive work, and it's no small work. How can I address other people's opinion when when we are truly wealthy and I don't have work to contribute? You have work to contribute. Your work might not be paid work. Your work is in your home. Your work could be mentorship. Your work could be, taking care of your children. And you have no need to convince anyone. That's a self-worth recalibration. That means that other people's opinion, OPO, has now become your opinion of yourself. People will have opinions of you. People have opinions of me. People have called me all these different names that are hurtful, and I've had to learn to manage my mind and to use other people's opinion as fuel for my greater formation. So your script is other people's opinion of you does not have to be your opinion of you. If you are and the thing is that if you're confident that you are in harmony with your purpose of the season, and that you're aspiring for great work, a vision, whatever that vision, it could be managing your home and creating that dream, life for your children, whatever that is, then you stay the course. You stay the course. And when you're fulfilling a vision, you're going to have enemies. You don't have to. And by the way, you don't have to address it. You have to put a boundary against people who judge you and misjudge you for the things they're unaware of. That tells me they're not probably good company to be around. You should be surrounded with women who celebrate your dreams, your purpose, and contribution to the season. Otherwise, it's a waste of your mental energy. Keep your circle small, keep it rich, and keep it meaningful. Be focused on mentorship and contribution. If your work right now, it's not a financial reward. I do think that women who feel very grateful, the byproduct of a beautiful and abundant life should be contribution. And I think mentorship should be the natural byproduct of a beautiful life. That's what I'm doing. I feel like I'm mentoring here and I'm leading because I feel deeply indebted for the life that I have. And so I encourage women who feel like, wow, my life is pretty awesome, January. Don't stay in that awesome life without giving it back because that's not yours to keep, it's yours to give. I'm not just speaking to, I'm just speaking to women and their need for mentorship because we need a whole world of mentors right now in this world that we live in. Yes, correct. So you don't, and this is why we need the premium because discovering the dream sometimes takes a while, but that pursuit of a dream definitely depends on the dream, will take some skilling up. And I'm teaching you to fulfill the dream while developing a life of wholeness. So you have to actually go through one arena at a time, and not just one arena, but one particular skill and one particular focus on particular arena. So it does it is important to not feel like you have to do it all. That's an important mindset. However, you going through the masterclass literally opens a door of awareness, things that you didn't think was possible, even though it's maybe challenging for you to see that, oh, I can't have that now. You just know that it's possible. It's sort of like, oh, the world is flat, but now it's actually round. But can I travel it yet? Well, we first have to develop the skills. It's now you're seeing that it's possible, that there's a life after the things that you thought were not possible. So the whole masterclass, the first time around, it's simply awareness. So focus on the dream and focus on one arena at a time. And then you chisel, 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 chisel. But the beauty about this is that you learn a skill. Let's just say you learn prioritization, right? That's going to impact every part of your arena. You learn mind management. It's going to impact every part of your arena. You learn how to order your kitchen. That's going to influence how you show up as order in every part of your life. So it all is, like I said, it's like a puzzle. It's like a web. And that's why one skill is like having one hammer and trying to build a mansion. What you want is the hammer and the bulldozer and the nail and the nail gun, all to build the mansion of your life. Mansion synonymous to a beautiful life. How often do you revisit your schedule and reorganize your time? Almost every day. I redid our schedule for the summer, but I think our routine is pretty, it's in a sense that our morning routine is secure and our evening routine is secure. So I don't typically have to change that unless I'm writing a book or doing something. And if so, it's just a minor tweak. I just look at my schedule and look at the time blocks for my day, which is most likely the same during school seasons for my children. In the summer, it's a bit more fluid, but it's not, I'll say, okay, Ryan, I'll work in the morning for this patch and I'll be home in the afternoon. So it's time blocks. So every day and every week, you're recalibrating those things, but it's not like a lot of changes. It just means that you have almost a structure and you're just moving the furniture because you've already created the structure, right? It's like breakfast is already set every morning. You know what to eat. Dinner is already kind of set. You know what to eat. The lunch is at 12 and you know that, this morning time from 8 to 9 or 9 to 10 is when you're doing errands or work at home or you're cleaning up. And so there's already an infrastructure and you're just moving certain pieces depending on what's needed. I think that every season of our life, we should have a dreaming and our husband should have a dream. And I think that as a couple, there should be an intersection of those dreams. So let's just say my dream in this particular season is to get a doctorate in womanhood. And Ryan's dream is to, let's just say he wants to be able to have a financial dream and maybe that's his dream, right? So maybe those dreams. Now I'm aware of his dream and I'm aware of his dream, but me holding space for his dream and me not having a dream could lead me to believe that my dreams and my vision, my purpose is less valuable than his. So what you want to do is hold space for his, but the way you hold space for his is actually make sure you have it. And here's why. You're holding space for his and you're fulfilling his dream, but because you don't have yours, you could be resentful, you could be upset, you could be angry. You can hold space better for his vision when you too have a vision. Why? Because you actually can talk about the struggles when you are trying to pursue a vision, to hold each other accountable to a higher discipline, because that's what a vision does. It fuels a life of discipline. Now you're growing together because then you're holding this vision and you don't have one. So what's the fuel for you to want to grow? And so now he's pursuing his dream and his vision, and you're stuck here. And this is what happens, right? So this is why I see couples and the husband grows successful, they're fueling their vision, but because they think, well, I'm just here to support my husband, which is accurate, but it's confused with that means that my dreams are important. That means that my desires are important. No, you support your husband by also dreaming, by studying, by also fueling. Like when Ryan was in real estate, I studied the books he studied, and that actually helped fuel my dream in the woman's school. So you're there's no ever kind of time where you don't have a vision and that it's one or the other, it's both. And I think that you can hold space for his vision with abundance thinking and still have a whole vision for yours. And here's the thing, when you have that vision, then you can say to him and say, I also need you to hold space for this vision that has been implanted in my heart. And then now you're doing that together. And that's inspiring to him, and maybe he might not agree with it, but I do think the pursuit of a noble purpose is inspiring to most men. I think that it's not inspiring when a couple, when a woman sort of lets herself go, aka lets her vision go. Now, your husband is not saying, honey, you're not inspiring to me because you don't have a vision, because they're not necessarily thinking that. They just want to make sure you provide. But I think that they don't know what they don't know, but when a woman comes in and say, honey, I have a dream and I have a vision, I'm going to work backwards for it. I'm going to get up early. I'm going to make sure I study. I discipline my time. I want to make sure I don't have a lot of activities so I can really fulfill this. I really want to build this business. That's inspiring to him. He sees your labor. He sees your vision. He sees you working backwards. He sees your hard work, your failure, and he learns from you. And that's how you become a teacher. How can you teach when you don't have a vision?